Hi, this is Joe Chambers. Welcome to Musicians Hall of Fame Backstage, the Vault Series. Today's clip was shot back in around 2005. Can't remember exactly what the date was, but Hal Blaine invited me to his house out in Palm Desert, California. He was doing an interview for Modern Drummer magazine with Jim Keltner, Chad Smith, Earl Palmer. And he wanted to know if I wanted to just video it for the archives for the museum. So it was great. They talked about things that probably were not totally politically correct, but great listening. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, be sure to hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new content. Once again, Hal Blaine, Earl Palmer, Chad Smith, and Jim Keltner.
It was funny because you've told me before, you said, that Earl came out to the West Coast, and then you said, craziest things. When does ever a black guy give a Jew a gig? And then Jim says, first time in entertainment history.
Well, he did. I was working with a group called the Diamonds,
Yeah.
as I recall. And I think Earl was recording with them.
Yeah.
And Earl was just so busy. I mean, the man, he just couldn't handle them all,
Yeah.
So he started throwing them to me.
Breaking in. When did you first start? Tell me about first
Well,
New Orleans.
Well,
Started playing.
my uncle was a drummer with Dave Bartholomew's band on Ida Cotton Vaudeville show, which I was on as a kid. And he was a drummer. So we all went back home to New Orleans. And later than that, him and Dave got into a big hassle. And then Dave Bartholomew wanted me to play drums with him. And I asked my uncle, I said, all right, you not going back with him? He said, no, I'm never going back with that so-and-so and so-and-so and so. But so I said, well, okay, first gig I ever had. So I went on this gig with Dave, and then we started doing Fat Towns and people. Then later, Little Richard and other people started coming. But that was my beginning.
That was the beginning.
Yeah.
Wow.
But you see, when he was talking about it, he was with the Diamonds.
Right.
And they were on RCA, I think it was. And I did all of RCA's things, and with the Diamonds. And when you come and ask me about, you mind if I stand behind here? And I said, sure, no problem whatsoever. And so they said something about, about them. But I said, why don't they use his drummer? He's a good guy. And I didn't even hear him play. But
You didn't even hear him play?
No, I didn't even hear him play.
You could tell the way he played
by the way he talked.
By the way he talked.
And what he talked
See?
about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't say certain things that don't show up whether you can play or not.
Let me interrupt just for 1 second. You can carry on after this. But that's apparently the way Miles used to audition his drummers. He'd watch them walk across the room.
Really?
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Yeah.
If they walked the right way, he knew how to play. They said, okay, you got the gig. Nah, you ain't got it. I'm sorry.
Where that may have come from. Somewhere I heard about some other musician, saxophone player, said he'd watch him, and if he had that drop. Now in New Orleans, there's a certain way you walk where you get a little low, a drop. And that might be what he's talking about, because I've heard of that, but I don't know who it was.
Right.
Well,
But so you
that drop, having that drop.
well, and the other funny thing is that Jim did the same thing with you.
I used to see when you said he asked if he could watch. See, this is what's great about this. I didn't think about this. I should have known this is the way it was. But you were doing the records of the acts that he was playing with live, and then he asked that one, and then he asked, could I watch him play? Well, that's what I used to sneak in and watch both of you guys, but the one time that I was in a situation where I was playing in this little band, and then the record was going to be recorded by Jimmy Gordon, because I didn't have any experience. I had no experience at all. And so, so what I did was I said, I asked Jimmy Gordon, I said, can I, do you mind if I stand behind you or sit here and watch you? And he said, no, that's fine. So I sit and I watched Jimmy Gordon play, and I remember that seeped in, and I had already seen you guys play a bunch of times. And he was doing the same kind of, he had the same kind of drum set. He copied Hal to a T.
To the T.
He had the same colored drums,
the same
cymbals, the same exact everything. And I had already started trying to copy Hal. So then when I saw Jimmy copying Hal, I said, oh, well, I know I'm in the right. I'm going the right way. But you were the mystery because I only saw you from a distance at on that sound stage that one time.
What sounds
It was you don't remember the gig. It was MGM, and you were playing with Little Richard. And nobody can. I've asked people for decades about that, and nobody can remember the gig or anything.
Can't help it.
No, I checked on it. The Girl
Was it
Can't Help
that?
It, and it's not apparently because it was Blueberry Hill that you were playing. Unless you
Blueberry
recorded
Hill,
it.
That's Fats Domino.
No, yeah, but it was his version, and you were playing on it. Now, probably they recorded it and then didn't use it or something. But anyway, those were life-changing events in my life. Was seeing Hal the first time with H.B. Barnum, and then seeing you with Little Richard on the soundstage. Those were two life-changing experiences. That changed my life. And then sitting up close to Jimmy, that also was very powerful to me because he was an amazing drummer. You know.
Yes, he was.
You know, H.B. Barnum was also one of the first guys to start using me on sessions. And he used to tell these producers that, how come we don't have a black guy? And he'd say, this guy plays black, and I'm telling you, you better listen to him because this is where it's at. H.B.
H.B. was
I didn't really know H.B. very well, but then I started playing in his big band. And I saw H.B. the other day after Lou Rawls passed away.
Yeah.
They were interviewing it. I didn't recognize him. This
Balloon.
I couldn't believe that that was
balloon now.
H.B. Barnum, man. Couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And they called him H.P.
H.B.
Somebody blew the thing.
It took him that long to get that fat to be that rotten.
Couldn't believe it.
He's got
I never had a
What,
problem with him.
Jim, Earl, Jimmy's told me that the first time he saw you, that you were, like, Hal would always kind of saying,
Hal was real
making
sweet to
jokes
me.
and
Hal
sweet
was
and,
like,
and,
yeah.
and gregarious and
Always let me know.
outgoing and everything. And he
Talk
said
to me,
that-
answer my questions
he
about
said-
hi-hats and things.
And you scared the shit out of me. You smoking and kind of looking at it.
You were too dangerous.
You're dangerous.
You had a dangerous
That's what
look.
you need.
That's what I need.
But he said you were kind of scary. That was,
No, because the way
Nah.
it's
No,
like
I
he-
well,
it's
no, go ahead.
like
You
he's
gotta
doing-
remember, around that time, there were a lot of other drummers. Not just Hal, there was a lot of other drummers coming around to see what I was doing, because nobody was doing that when they come from New Orleans.
Right.
No, he's the only one that come along that was playing backbeat. At the same time, he's playing. What was they using? Two guys who played the backbeat, wasn't it? When you started,
I don't even remember, man.
and
Tell him I'm making
and
records.
everybody wanted to. I didn't know how you do that. How you do that? And then I looked around. I said, well, as soon as they find out how I do that, then I won't be doing it. They'll be doing it. And that's true.
It's called
so he
independent
was thinking you were coming
coordination.
to steal a gig.
He didn't even know I was. He didn't even see me. But yeah, I can see the way you would have been.
I didn't. When I
No,
got
you didn't
to
know me because
know you
I was too afraid to come up to you. So you always had that little Sherman hanging out of your mouth, like one eye
Oh,
squinting.
that's Sherman.
You know.
It took you
But
a
see, in
little while.
those days, you were Jimmy Lee.
Who's that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Tulsa, and I talked funny back. I talk like him, from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
From Tulsa, right?
Yeah.
Do you know that I happen to be an honorary lieutenant governor of the state of Oklahoma?
Are you serious?
You do? I got the plaque on the wall, man. I'll show it to you.
I can't never tell if he's serious.
Plaque on my teeth,
Oh,
too.
you got the plaque.
No, I'm serious.
Oh, no,
I'm
you
serious.
are then.
First time I'd ever ordered from them. Anyway,
So, hey, the other thing I wanted to ask you guys is how you saw, because in the West Coast studio scenes, from when you guys started to the changes and how the business changed and how the music changed and what we could talk a little bit about those experiences and what were some turning points that you felt were
well, if you want to start with me,
okay, we'll start with you.
you know, I fell into the Beach Boy thing,
Right.
and Jan and Dean, which Earl and I always did together. Probably the first double drums that we used.
Dude, was double drums.
Double
I
drum?
didn't know that.
All that? Dead Man's Curve and all that? You
All
guys
of
played
it.
together on that?
I've never
All of
done
it.
that.
At the same time? Tracking at the same
We
time?
made
We used to
identical
make
parts.
identical chops.
Wow, no kidding.
We make the parts. We couldn't
That's
make.
awesome.
In the East Stave, we
Same
have a
fills?
tom-tom,
Where-
Same fills.
the A stave in the scale.
Yeah.
We have that as a snare drum,
Yeah.
and we played from the staves what drum to play.
Right.
And the cymbals were all up on X's, you know what I mean? And
Right,
we
right.
even up whichever cymbal we're gonna play on a different X.
Wow. Wow.
So
Which means-
anyway,
That's great. Now, would you be set up together? What
identical,
studio-
right
What
next
studio?
to
What,
each
Gold
other.
Star?
Yeah.
What studio?
Gold Star.
we both had our blue drums, not Gold Star.
Well,
were
we did the
Western.
first one I did was
Western.
at Gold Star.
Well, it might have
We
been.
were doing one of them that
It was
night
Western.
that Mike Post came in. We was doing for Lou Adler. When
I
Mike
don't
Post
know.
came in. Because
I don't
Mike
remember.
Post wasn't in there. The good guitars was in there. Anyhow.
I couldn't tell you, I really
So you
couldn't tell
guys be set up side by
We were
side?
side by side.
Side by side.
He wrote most of the charts.
Yeah.
And I was contracting all that stuff
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
for those
Okay.
kids, see? So when I get home, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning, I'd sit at the typewriter and be doing all these contracts. Thank God, which is paying for everything.
Yeah.
Hey. Anyway, this was real early, what we were calling very early, take two.
Sorry.
All right. This is what we were calling early rock and roll.
Yeah.
And as far as the changes, not only were we playing rock and roll, I mean, Earl was doing Percy Faith, and I was working with Henry Mancini and all these incredible people that started calling because somehow they wanted that backbeat, you know. And a lot of the drummers at that time refused the word rock and roll, period.
Stan Levy and those kind of guys, right? They were
Would not play,
didn't wanna do that.
absolutely would not, you know, rock and roll was garbage, S-H-I-T, and we don't do that, period. It's, okay, you know, what's his name, Mel
Mel Lewis?
Lewis, all those great drummers, man, we were big band drummers.
It's a
jazz
fad.
drummers.
It's gonna go
So-
away. It's lowering
Bebop.
themselves. Lowering. They don't want to lower themselves to play.
So
Well-
Mel Lewis was here doing dates and
Yeah.
didn't refused to do the
Yeah.
rock thing?
Bunch of
and
guys.
Stan? And who else? Anybody?
Bunch of those guys,
Anybody's?
kid, what's his
You know, a
name,
lot of
that
those guys.
that ran Drum City,
Roy Hart.
Roy Hart,
Roy
yeah.
Hart.
He didn't want to do it either.
All those drummers, the Shanahan,
Dick
and
Shanahan.
what's his name was with Les Brown for years, great,
Jack
one of my
Sperling.
favorites.
Oh, Jack
Sperling.
Sperling.
How about Alvin Stoller?
Alvin Stoller, one of my
Stoller.
favorites, all those
And
guys.
they refused to go like that.
They
All
were,
those
they were
guys.
always, they were always talking about that kind of music as very unmusical. And when it became musical, they didn't want to play it.
It was
'cause they
junk.
could not play it musical.
It was
Those
garbage,
things,
it was a
yeah.
backbeat, it
It
was
was the-
The
loud.
music you're playing.
You know,
drums,
people
you're not
that don't
playing the
understand
piano. You're
something
getting
and
music
then-
out of the instrument you're playing the best you can.
You know, one of my favorite stories along those lines is that when I started going to the drum shop in Hollywood, these guys didn't know me as far as having charge accounts or anything. But when they got to know me a little bit, Stan and those guys, and the other guy, the Italian guy that finally left.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, every time I'd go in there, they'd say, "What's the beef that you have with Sinatra's drummer at the time, Irv Cutler?"
Irv Cutler.
I say, "I don't have a beef. I never met the man. I don't know the guy."
Oh,
I say, "Well, every time he's in here, he really badmouths you, man."
oh.
I said, "Really?
Playing that evil rock.
I don't know the man. I never met him. I had never worked with Sinatra at the time." Well, it turns out that I get this incredible call at Disney. 2 orchestras. There's like 60 guys on this side, 60 guys on that, me in the middle. And behind me, Emil, Larry Bunker, and Irv Cutler on tambourine.
Oh.
We spent a week there with, this wonderful composer, I forget his name now, he died recently. Everybody's dying.
Yeah.
You know, you got people dying and they never died before. And it's just one of those terrible things. But anyway, we worked a week on this movie, and I got to meet Mickey Rooney and a whole mess of people. It was just great fun. And I had been doing records with Helen Reddy. Helen Reddy was in the movie, a bunch of stars. when we finished that week, Earl Palmer came up to me and says, "Man, I owe you a big apology. I had no idea you were really a drummer. I thought you were just a loud rock and roll guy, and I really owe you a big apology." We became good friends.
Oh, man, that is a great story. Man.
And
I
then
love
to
it.
add
I love
insult-
Irv, man. I thought
And
Irv
then
was-
to add insult to injury, I started doing Sinatra's record.
Oh, no, then that wasn't.
Which was terrible, terrible.
Yeah.
I really felt bad for a second, you know.
For a second. But then how?
But
how-
then-
But it's
As
okay
it-
though. You didn't like the music he had you playing anyhow, right?
As it progressed, these kids with Beach Boys and so forth, they started growing and writing more sophisticated. And I was working with the four, the high-lows and the four freshmen and the Lettermen and all those people at Capitol. And it was becoming more sophisticated, more sophisticated. So that's where the changes got more pop as opposed to rock. It was like pop
The
rock.
chords become, which led to the melodies.
Exactly.
The chords became more pop, you know, than.
And the
Yeah.
melody
More
lingers.
sophisticated. Boy,
They
they
lingered
got
right
away.
on with it.
Not just three chords.
Tell you, Earl, when you came out to the West Coast,
You're finished with me now?
you just gotta pause.
Just
I
kidding.
gotta jump in when I can.
Pause. You
I
gotta.
got my pause. What was the scene like when you came out to the West Coast?
When I came out here, I came out to the West Coast.
Just before you get into that, was that when it was seriously the black union and the white union?
No, it was just after that.
After that. Okay.
Just after that.
Sorry.
A matter
So
of
what-
months after that.
What years we talking?
It's 57.
They had a black union and a white union?
Yeah.
Shit, yeah. They
Yeah.
had one in
Hollywood?
Nashville, didn't they?
Yeah, huh?
They had one in Nashville.
Oh, I don't know anything about Nashville,
Hell
but
yeah,
I
they
sure
had
would not have
Nashville.
believed that of
They
Hollywood.
wasn't letting them niggas live with everybody down there. You didn't?
In Hollywood?
Listen, I went to school here in California many years earlier than that. Because that's the reason I'm here, because I always wanted to move back to here and go to school out here. Because all my life traveling on the road, vaudeville shows, and I never went to school out there. I either come here to California by my uncle, my mother's oldest brother, and my godfather. Either there or go back to New Orleans. Because I don't know if you was even in the union when I got in the union, or when I met you. Because it didn't have a lot of people in the union.
I got in the union, the LA Union, I believe it was 1952.
That was
I
downtown.
transferred from Chicago.
And that was downtown.
I don't remember, but I
Down right
transferred
there
from
by the
local
freeway.
10 into 47. I don't know. Been there ever since.
So you got in. So you came to what was the studio scene like when you got out?
Well, when I got out here, I didn't do a film call. No, I did do a couple of film calls early, and I didn't do any for a long time. Because although the unions had been amalgamated, it was giving the black musicians film jobs. That was our money jobs. And they weren't doing that. You know who was getting a few of those kind of jobs? Just to make a good showing. But it collect, because he played flute.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was
You know
great.
what I mean? And he was from here, and so he knew a lot of people in the administrative business and the education, in education too, because he always did teaching at various schools, and most of the time free.
You got the same kind of stories that have happened to me. David Geffen was just a punk kid that run around at
Sure
Gold
was.
Star,
Sure was.
you know, trying to learn.
Gold Star,
And one day,
drooling over Sherry, as gay
you
as he
know,
was.
well, yeah, and you said that, I didn't. And,
Well, you know, Cher does have quite a gay song, so it makes sense, you know. But
of course,
great, it's all good.
of course. What is that old saying about so-and-so hang together, whatever? Anyway, he came to me one day, he started making big bucks. And he came to me one day and he said, damn new man, you've cost me a lot of money. I said, what are you talking about? He said, I bought all that stock that you were touting. I said, man, I never touted a stock in my life. I don't have any. I don't have stocks and bonds. I don't play the market. That was Tony Turan,
That's right.
Tedesco, and a few of those other guys. As soon as there was a break, they were right on the phone to their brokers, you know. And he said, no, he said, I lost all this money on Whittaker. I said, man, you're talking about Tedesco, not me.
Tedesco with Whittaker.
Whittaker
Yeah.
was a big Tedesco thing.
Yeah.
To this day, like you were just saying, to this day,
He's the-
I'm
he's
sure
somebody
that
else.
he swears
He's somebody else.
that I made him lose money. And today, of course,
Well, I
he
know
owns,
for
he
one,
owns
they never
Hollywood.
used
Well,
to
he's
come.
a billionaire now.
They never used to come to musicians to buy no stock. At least they didn't come to me.
Tony
They knew I was
Turan,
making a lot of money.
yeah.
Then
Turan was the only guy I knew that lived on the phone with all that. He was
that
never
came-
stopped.
That came to Snuff.
Snuffy Garrett?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Tedesco were partners. They played gin rummy all the time.
That's right.
Gin rummy all the time. And
I remember that.
And you remember when what's her name? The girl singer that I didn't even know she was Mexican. Good singer.
Vicky Carr.
Oh, Vicky Carr.
Got it. Vicky Carr. Yeah.
Half Mexican.
And she coming later after she's a big star now. Now we hadn't seen her in a long time. I don't know what Tedesco was doing by getting us all back together with her, because now she's a star and she's gonna walk in there and say, I can't stand these cigarettes. It's funny when you used to go in the back room. Stuffy was standing cigarettes in there. What happened then? You know what I mean? She started crying. Tedesco was telling her off. And she started crying, you know. Tedesco said, well, tell her she's got to be a moderate star. Don't be a big star at once. Tedesco.
Tedesco, he was a piece of work.